like when they have the little bedazzled one. Okay. You ready? Well, I guess to start, first game, I can't believe year 9 just started today, so that was fun. A lot to work on, but great to get a first win and just get the film and kind of see where we need to grow from here. So a lot of things to work on, but there's some positives too.
Early on, compared to the exhibitions, percentages defensively were better.
Just offensively, they weren't better, but
Right. Yeah. So what was going on? What was different?
I think the difference, I think discipline-wise, defensively, like when they start calling tight touch fouls, we need to be able to adjust to that. Like we just can't have so many fouls, especially when we're closing out short. We need to kind of know and have a good gauge on that. We did not do that well. So young, not disciplined in that sense. Offensively, I think their zone really affected us. We probably took 6 shots in the first half at the end of the shot clock. So not able to kind of go against a 3-2 zone or extended 2-3, that gave us some problems. So definitely need a lot more work on that. But the thing is, like, it's hard because that made us stagnant. In the past, we would have probably lost this game. But I think that us being able to adjust and made some good runs in there, even, which is good with a lot of new people.
So speaking of fouls, Brea got too early, and you're kind of like, oh, here we go again.
Yeah.
But then after that, she seemed like she was played much smarter.
For sure.
What has the conversation been like over the off season? Sort of emphasizing like you need to stay on the floor.
And we've had a lot of conversations about that, showing her film. She's not as aggressive on balls because she got a lot of fouls like trapping or hard hedging. So have her a little bit more contained, which I think has helped. And just she has a better understanding, and she's just better defensively this year. I think she worked really hard to get. Well, she's working to get in shape because she was out in and out a little bit, but she worked really hard to get stronger and worked on her footwork. So that's improving. You saw that, like, she had 3 rim runs tonight. She probably had 3 the whole year last year. So she's getting better and smarter. And I have to trust her where she can play with 2 fouls. In the past, if I would put her in 2 fouls, once she gets tired, she would have got her 3rd. So I think she's doing a better job of understanding, okay, let me pop back and contain. Let me not slap down when a guard drives. And so I have to be able to trust her more because I want to be able to play her with 2 fouls sometimes. But, I think just overall, a lot of hand check fouls, a lot of reaching when we don't need to. So I like the aggressiveness. I don't like us getting out of position. And that's just a young thing. I looked at the court a couple times in the game, and we had, we had 3 freshmen, a sophomore, and then like an upperclassman. So we're just still really young and have a lot to improve on.
When you look down the box score, you have 4 players with 10 points, 2 with 9, 1 with 8. That's 6 right there, almost as much as you had all of last year at the end. So, what does it mean to you to be able to have multiple players who can score and step up at any time?
So more depth, I think more, scoring options. If you look, we almost had like 7 people in double digits. So 9, 9, 8. I think that we can play different ways. Later on, as the season progresses, I'd like to play sometimes really big with Monte at the 2, or the Monte at the 3, Sky at the 2, and then just Isis and Brea inside. So I think we can just do different things. So now it's just kind of refining some things and just being a little bit more disciplined with some things. But I thought Ja gave us great energy. I thought Maylene was great off the bench. And this is a game when Skylar and Jada didn't play well. Jada will say it. She's like, I shot awful. But she also took a lot of last-second shots. And Sky was out of foul trouble. So that's with 2 of our best players, 4 for 20. So in the past, we didn't have the depth, and we didn't have the just the personnel to be able to win if 2 of our starters weren't playing well. So that's a good thing.
You had 40. It's all about being a mom, isn't it?
Oh,
you had 40 points in the paint,
Yeah.
and then you had 19 points coming from the free throw line. You guys are almost perfect at the free throw line.
Thank goodness.
So when you look at those scores, that gives 30 points elsewhere. I mean, it's pretty even. It's pretty even, and I know you talked a little bit about getting some of those outside shots open a little bit more and taking better outside shots. But tell us what you think about that those 40 points in the paint are big and something that you might not have seen last year.
No, we wouldn't have seen that last year. And also, out of those 40 points, Brea and Isis 8 for 12 or 8 for 11. That's a really good stat. So 8 for 11, then 18 rebounds. So that's positive for us. Sorry, we got an intruder. So those things, and I mean, if you look, Brea only missed 2 shots, and one was like a rim run layup, and then Isis 3 for 4, but also 8 rebounds, almost a double double, and then 4 steals. So that's our post player, I think, that led our team in steals. So I think those are really positive things. And right now, if you would have looked last year at Isis Bay, and then you would fast forward to this year, she's our best on the ball defender in the post as far as like, hard hedging or trapping, and she's moving like a guard, and she's one of our best post passers. So it's hard to have her off the floor. Like, it's because gives great high-low passes to Brea. She has understanding what we're doing. When against the zone, she works really hard to get the ball inside. And so she's playing like a fifth year. And she's our captain this year, so she's doing a lot of things. And, I mean, she could have played more. She's in great shape. Last year she couldn't have played. I think at one point she was like 12 minutes straight in the game. And last year she wouldn't have been able to do that. So I'm really proud of how far she's came along. And her and Brea have really good chemistry together. And even also those two and Ja. So that's good to see. We haven't had that combination. So I think we're pretty strong inside. Not super athletic, but more girth. And I think we'll be effective in the Big 12 like that with our personnel.
It was wonderful to see Montea out there.
Yeah.
The first game in probably 2.5 years.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking the Montea that we saw tonight isn't the Montea we're going to see in
No.
a few months. What's the timetable and what's the expectation?
Yeah, I think, unfortunately for her, she was out. She had gotten sick, and we had to hold her out last game. I think that not being out for 2 years, there's a big adjustment. Just the pace of the game, like getting your, I think just the mental part of getting back into the swing of things, because she did some great things. But stuff that she does doesn't always show up on the stat sheet. Like if you look, she's 1 pass off the ball. She does a great job of stunting and preventing drives. She had really good post defense. She was really solid on the ball in pick and roll situations. So she does a lot of those smart things that don't show up. But I think she's capable of being the 1, 2, 3, or 4 for us. And I think that once she gets more comfortable, you'll see a completely different Monte. You'll see more assists, you'll see steals, and you'll see her scoring. She may only be like 8 to 10 points, but with a few, she'll be like a stat line, like a stat eater, just like Helena. Maybe 2 assists, no turnovers, a few steals, kind of does a little bit of everything. So I expect that from Monte, and she's important for us because she can play every position, and she's so smart on the court. She knows every position.
What do you think of the other 3 freshmen?
I thought they were good. I thought Lauren came in, hit some shots. I thought she did some good things. I thought Maylene was solid today. 22 minutes. She had some tough turnovers, but she came in, 3 for 5. Hit some free throws, and Maylene is a really good offensive rebounder. That stood out to me when I recruited her, and for her to have 6 rebounds, and I thought she did a really good job. I thought she was solid, and she's been a person that has worked so hard every single day. She does whatever we ask her. She's a great teammate. I just love coaching her, and I think Katarina came in, sat all first half, came in, hit a 3, did some good things. I think they're just getting experience, and the game's so different here. So I'm proud of the way they stepped up, and I think you can see glimpse of greatness from Lauren Swan. She came in 2 for 3, had some good. She had 8 points in 14 minutes. She's also someone that can score, and she's just going to get better. And they're just learning. When you take them, Maylene's a little bit more experienced because of her international play, but Katarina is just getting game experience. She was a young, basically not pro, but she was a young player that played international. So she's from Serbia. She went to Spain and played, but didn't play a lot with the senior team. So she's just getting back into it. Her, Montea, and Lauren is, a big girl basketball now. And it's completely different. Everybody's faster. Everybody reads the game more. And she's just a freshman. And remember, Lauren has a different swag about her because she is someone that was always the underdog. Lauren's one of the few players in the country didn't sign early. She bet on herself. She had really small schools recruiting her in the fall. She bet on herself and said, no, I want to go bigger because I can. She stayed, and she was the best player that was available in the spring. And she bet on herself and got a lot of bigger offers after, and then came here. So she's someone that always kind of plays with a chip. And I really love that about her. She's going to be a really good player.
It's
19 turnovers tonight.
Yeah,
What's your target goal for this season? What's a good game? Your players said about 10.
Yeah, I mean, we obviously want 20 assists, 10 turnovers. And I think we had 7 right where we threw it right to Coy. And Coy knows what we try to do, so Coy was ready for it. Sometimes we gave her presents. I think we were like, welcome back to Arizona, Coy. But Coy played really well. Yeah, I mean, for this team being young and stuff, like 12, we've always been really good at taking care of the ball. Like, so 12 turnovers would be, I mean, Salvo would probably say 10, but our staff would say 10, but I'd say 12.
Language at times. How do you help, some of the younger players, you still see the frustration.
Very emotional.
How do you help them through that?
I help them in practice because I have a huge horn. It's really annoying. I first had a kettlebell, and it wasn't as annoying. It wasn't annoying enough. So then I said, okay, well, if we want to have bad body language, and I value that kind of stuff, so I got, what's it called, Lauren? Yeah, air horn. I got an air horn. It's a really loud, annoying one. So when you get called out for bad body language, the air horn goes off, and you're on this board, and the board says Energy Vampire. And so they have these groups. So you get on the board. I did it for a particular person. I'm not going to say her name, but it has helped. And so she was the reason why I did the board. And so, but it has helped. And hopefully, I hope you guys see a difference with certain players. But they get the, and sometimes I'll do it again. And then they get the one after a certain amount, they just step to the side and don't practice anymore. That's only happened once. So I'm correcting that. And it's work in progress. So.
And what do you think the reason was for all the turnovers tonight, especially the ones that weren't, that were unforced? Because
I think a couple of fundamentals. So JR on the post, like she's solid. I think she just was just a little bit in her head today. But JR is going to be fine. But I think just kind of jumping and being excited when you have one-on-one. I think a lot of turnovers on reversals. So have to do a better job of cooperating together. So the forward needs the V cut and get open. Just basic fundamentals. And if you're not sure, don't make the pass. Like push them through. I'd rather that or go back door if you're being overplayed. So I think players are more effective when they see their mistakes. They see it on film because you think you're doing one thing and you're not. And so I think that a lot of turnovers trying to pass it into the post just directly when there's congestion, and then the posts aren't posting up against someone on the top of the zone. So ISIS does it really well. Jaws learning, so it doesn't do it as well. So turnovers with that. And also some of it's chemistry stuff, like one person's going instead of on ball, one person thinks they should receive it. So a lot of stuff like that those are correctable things, though. So I'd say out of the 19, 9 of those were just things that were just kind of silly. So the good thing is there's teaching moments for us and work, but we have to get better. I mean, we aren't nearly where we need to be. So hopefully next game you'll see improvement. And we have to improve a lot this week because we have 3 games in 8 days. So it's a good week to see film and improve.
What do you think was going on with Jada tonight on the offensive end?
I think it was probably a little bit of frustration initially. When you're a guard and it counts down and post gives you the ball with 3 seconds, that's annoying. And I think you end up having the jack up shots, and then you're and when that happens 3 or 4 times, I think you start to think about it. Because Jada has improved her shot so much, and you didn't see that tonight. So I think when you get a couple of those, and the next time you're you think about those, you miss 3 shots, and then you go miss your next pull-up jumper. So I think she'll be fine. I just think it was one of those nights where that happened, and I don't think there's going to be too many nights when she's 0 for 5 from the 3 and 2 for 15. And hopefully there isn't too many nights when we're 4 for 18 from the 3. I hope not. We have a lot better shooters than last year and more players, so definitely have to improve that stat.
You can take one more question.
The 4 o'clock on Monday, what was that like? Was it different getting ready? Was the energy different, any of that?
Yeah, I'm not going to say that as an excuse. It was different because it's just we're used to having a different shoot around, but that's not the reason why I played the way we played. Unfortunately, I prefer it later just because of our fan base. We want to have a few more thousand fans and people work. So that kind of stinks, but I don't think that's not a reason at all. Now, when you talk about Sunday playing at noon and you're on the road or something, that's different, but that had nothing to do. I'm telling you, players like games more than practice because practice is harder than games. So they're all, if you say there's 4 games a week, they're probably like, yes, like no practices, because you don't have to work on drills and all that stuff, which players don't love that stuff. So I think when there's a lot of games, they're happy. And because of the way the Big 12 is scheduled, we had to condense things like 2 weeks earlier, so that was hard. So November is a lot of games. But the good thing is it's a time to get better and prepare for the Big 12. So, and we have a lot of home games, which is also great. So our fans will be happy. They won't complain, but they might complain again, Kim. Just so you guys did about the easy schedule, but that was a learning lesson last year. I'm not listening to Kim ever again. We had the number 2 hardest schedule in the country, and it did not help for the tournament. So Adia Barnes learned in her 9th year of head coaching. Okay. All right. Thank you. Have a good night.